សមាជិកគណៈបកសង្គ្រោះជាតិប្រាជ្ញាប្រធានសាមគ្គីក្រុមនានាសង្គ្រោះបម្រើការពារកម្ពុជាខ្មែរត្រឹមគ្រប់គ្នាទាមទារសិទ្ធិសេរីឯករាជ្យបូរណភាពអធិបតេយ្យខ្មែរប្រស្រីបដូរផ្ដាច់ថែរក្សាមិនឲ្យបរទិញឈ្លានពានមកត្រួតត្រាសម្បត្តិដូនតាធនធានជាតិខ្មែរ
Good evening, welcome and thank you for joining our show. This is Khmer Youth Voices for Justice. This is part of the CNRP America live show. My name is Linda Wu. Today is Tuesday, June the 15th, 2021. Our topic for today is economic growth while depleting natural resources. We will talk about offshore oil, gold mining, and also we will talk about forests in Cambodia. So all natural resources in Cambodia. Before we start, please help to join me to sign the petitions ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. Our campaign to end impunity. Your support is very important for our campaign, so please join me to help share and sign the petitions at change.org ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. To get an impunity together, we hold Hun Sen responsible for continuing to kill and hurt Cambodian. Until now, hundreds of victims have never received any justice. So please help to share our petition and also sign our petition at change.org. We have a short clip explaining ending impunity for justice in Cambodia by Her Excellency Musapur. Please watch the clip, and also it's well explaining on what it's about and also how to support our petitions.
Between 1975 and 1979, the green rice fields of Cambodia became the killing fields of Cambodia. Over 2 million lives were lost, including the lives of my own parents and many of my relatives. The Khmer Rouge wanted a society that is equal according to them. We still live and we are haunted with the legacy of the Khmer Rouge, which is the culture of impunity that continues to exist in Cambodia today. It is for this reason that we have started a campaign, worldwide campaign, a campaign to end impunity in Cambodia by seeking justice for cases, for the executions, for the killings that are organized, that are backed by the state. Among those cases of state-backed killings are the killings of Chivichir, the very famous trade union leader, Bisep Pilaka, a ballet dancer, of Kemlay, an independent analyst, of Chutvuti, a well-known environmentalist, of Venerable Sun Bunthun, who was advocating for the monks to have the right to vote, including workers who demanded fair wages. The campaign will also advocate for governments that are members of the United Nations to put pressure on the government of Cambodia to conduct independent investigations by using universal tools such as the UN Protocol for Independent Investigation. The campaign will also advocate for governments that believe and want to protect universal human rights to impose sanctions on the leaders of the government of Cambodia who are implicated in these state-backed extrajudicial killings. We ask you to be with us to support us, to be part of a campaign to end the culture of impunity in Cambodia and to find justice for those who have been waiting for justice for their loved ones killed by the state. There cannot be real peace unless there is justice. There cannot be justice unless there is independent investigation. And then to take those cases to an independent justice system. Join us by signing on this petition. Thank you.
យើងរួមគ្នាបញ្ចប់នីតិរដ្ឋភាពដើម្បីយុត្តិធម៌នៅកម្ពុជា
Hello and welcome back again. Again, my name is Linda Wu, and thank you for joining our show today. We have two wonderful guests today that gonna here to help and basically talk about the topic today. Our topic is economic growth while depleting natural resources. I have two wonderful guests today. My first, his name is Rithy Uong. He is the CNRP president. Let me invite him out.
Thank you for inviting me to the show. It's an honor.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
How you been?
I've been fine, and I think I've been happy because right now we have the freedom to move around. We no longer confine ourselves at home with the children, and right now I see that we could celebrate graduations with the students. I'm a school guidance counselor by profession, so yesterday was a big day for seniors, and the first time since pandemic that we could celebrate the success for the high school careers and move on to the next chapter in lives. So it was great to see off the send off students. Everyone looked happy and enjoy the company of friends and teachers and parents. It was great. So thank you for asking.
Does your state opening as well? Because California is opening today, and no mask required. I mean, only a certain a large crowd, but at the same time, it's considered an opening today, June 15.
Yeah, well, we masks no longer required in public, but in a school, it's still required to wear mask, and also in the department store, and it depends on the owners. They have a choice to let people to allow people in without mask, or they ask them to be, or they mandated they must be masked. So that's by choice of the business owners. But in general, it's been open since 2 weeks ago, so people can go out freely without wearing masks publicly. So that's great. But in the meantime, we had to be cautious. We had to keep our hands clean at all times. I go places with my family. We bring alcohol with us. Each time we touch anything, we spray, we clean. We want to make sure that when we come home, we free of germ at the best that we could protect ourselves. So we enjoy it, but we have to be cautious. So this is the message that we should all do. And even friends, that you haven't seen each other for a long time, and make sure they've been vaccinated, or make sure that if they're not, make sure you stay a little distant from them, not to be rude, but to be safe for both sides. So I think that's the message out there.
Thank you, Lukpu. Yes, correct. California is open, and at the same time, the cautious is there because the virus is still with us. People still test positive, and people still stay in the hospital to recover. But it's less. It's not as scary. It's not as scary as before. So yes, be well aware of where you at, and if you need to put mask on, then you need to put mask on, because that's for you yourself and for your family.
And I think the good news is that even those people infected by the virus currently, but right now we could spare lives. Unlike that when it first started, they didn't know how to save lives for those people who contacted by the virus. So right now, at least less people die from the virus, and I think as long as they go to the hospital on time and follow the doctor instruction, I think life can be saved. But we see still people die, but very minimal. So that's very good news.
Thank you, Luk Fu, and thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you. Let me introduce my second guest. His name is Sammady. He is the president of the CNRPA, the youth president of CNRPA in Los Angeles. How
are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
How's life since last week?
Just summer school, and right now, hopefully, the college is open. California University is back to normal. Can't wait.
Do you have does the school have a plan to bring back the student during fall season?
Only for lab. Basically, people who majoring in biology, chemistry, or pursuing their doctor degree, they prioritize to return to school under safety protocol.
So there's no plan yet.
No plan yet. Probably next year they open for everyone.
But don't the school require you guys to get vaccinated right now, or how does that work? I know I heard about one of the California California University is open up for vaccine, giving people vaccine. So I'm assuming that before anyone go back to school, it's required to be vaccinated.
I haven't seen the requirement yet, but they do encourage you to go to Cal Poly and get vaccinated because, as you know, Pfizer vaccine is available for everyone now, from 12 to whatever age you are. So it's widely available in the U.S.
Okay. So have you gone outside? Have you gone to any restaurant yet?
No, not yet. Staying inside, taking online classes.
Well, it's open today. You're not going out and going to the beach. I see a lot of people at the beaches. We are really hot today.
No, not going to the beach.
Okay. Thank you, Sammady, for always make your time for this shows and also for joining the show today.
Thank you, Uong, for having me.
Okay, let me put Mr. Rithy Uong back so that way we can talk about our topic. Let's talk about our topic. Our topic today is economic growth while depleting natural resources. When I'm talking about natural resources, the two popular thing this week about refining oil and mining gold. And so I want to throw in the third natural resources, which is tree forest in Cambodia. We talking about this three topic. All the three topic is about in Cambodia. So let me see. So the two main topic this week is refining oil. Since 2017, the regime is cheering about oil, finding oil in the oceans, and one of the company is Chris Energy. Since 2017, has a deal with the Cambodia to start producing oil in 2019. Last week was June 8, 2021, the regime held a ceremony to commemorate the delivery of first drop of oil. So it's very exciting. I have no problem with Cambodia having oil. Basically, that's a really good thing that Cambodia have oil, and also we all think that the oil will benefit the people, help with the people, but unfortunately, a couple of days before that, Chris Energy filed for bankruptcy. According to Radio Free Asia, so it's mean that Cambodia may not soon become the oil producer after all. So it's a it's a fell celebration last week. Sammady, can you help to explain what's going on? If you have you heard the news? Have you heard since 2017 this thing they've been pumping up, and also they build a beautiful building in on the ocean. Let me show you. Let me see. Oh, how about this? Very you know, there we go. Đầm Prang Đầm Bông, Cambodia. That's the first drop of oil. That's what being celebrated last week. Can you help to explain some more to our audience that who have not heard about this news, in case there's something, there are always things going on.
Mm-hmm. So, if this is to bring benefit and revenue to Cambodia people during this time of COVID, that is a very great news. But the question is, who will actually benefit from the new oil production? Because, as you know, they've been working with this Singaporean company called Chris Oil Company since 2017, and recently the company, as you said, they release a statement explaining that it is unable to pay its debt and will proceed to liquidations, keyword liquidations. So basically, I mean, the company is brought to an end, and also the asset and property of the company redistribute to the creditors and owners. And in this case, who is the owner and creditors, part owner, part creditors of Chris Energy, the Cambodian government, and who is the owner of Cambodian government, who's in charge of the country revenue, Hun Sen regime. So whoever control the owner and the creditors, basically they own 100% stakes of Chris Energy when they filed for bankruptcy. So in this case, it is a win-win situation because Chris Energy been building this since 2017 and is now almost 2022 for a long time, and the Hun Sen regime just reaped the benefit, be 100% owner of the company. And on the other hand, we have to look at the competitions in business terms. So as you can see, Russia produced around 10 million barrels per day. They dominated Asian market in crude oil. And the next one is called Thailand, neighbor. They produce around 200,000 barrel per day. And according to some that his oil produced around 7,000 barrel oil per day. Just imagine the competition. 7,500 is not a lot of money to bring into the country if you're trying to compete in the Asian market of crude oil.
Thank you, Sammady. Let me have Mr. Rithy chime in on the. I know you're not in business, Mr. Rithy, but how, as a leader, as a Hun Sen as a leader, how management is that? How is that a great management that you talk about us in 2017 and now 2021? The oil is supposed to be pouring out in 2019, and now the company filed bankruptcy. So how is that regarding his leadership and his management team?
I believe that it's a fail of leadership, a fail of the government that did not investigate thoroughly or follow through with the company, because each time you deal with business, and especially at a large scale, such as producing oil, you should have the team that investigate the operation of the company, and also the Senate and the Congress also have their own committee that oversight the oil the oil producers. So I think the fail of the Chris Energy based in Singapore is a show of the example of anyone who want to have big business in Cambodia. They should be cautious because the bankruptcy could go both ways because of the large scale of money go toward the top players in Cambodia, and some minimal amount may go toward producing oil or put toward the work to refine the oil. So that's a lot of questions to do with, and I think if Hun Sen's smart enough, he should really have the have private independent investigators to investigate what happened. And as somebody stated, it could be a great resource for Cambodia as well, since everything being in place already. And I think if he really care enough about the welfare of the people of Cambodia, maybe should try to get another avenue, expert in oils to come to look at the product that already been there already. The oil is, we know that it's there already, so need an expert to make sure that the oil can the first of oil will actually take place. So it's very disappointed. It's big disappointment among Cambodian people, and I think they expected. We've been waiting for the first drop of oil for been a long time now, because we know that we always raved about we have a lot of natural resources and we have oil in our sea. Now we found it and started, and the promise has been failed. And I think what else? I think the promise from Mr. Hun Sen has been failed many times. Not the first. It's oil, not the first one, but the fail of you mentioned about the topic in we're gonna discuss also about cutting trees. We failed. His leadership failed as well. He promised to stop the illegal logging company to cut down trees, but it's not just been able to do so. And he even dared to put his head on the price also if anyone continues to do so. So I think this is something that the people should realize, that I think Hun Sen should realize himself, should realize to get some expert in economic to do the work with him. And I think Mr. Sammady would have been the best person in economic growth in Cambodia, as he already shown in 1993 when he was a Minister of Finance in Cambodia. So I think that for me it's a shame of the government, a shame of the regime that did not follow through thorough enough and to have celebration without anything produced to show people that very shameful. But I think again, this is not the people unexpected. I think, but I think the unexpected may already known already. But I think the news traveled too fast, and the celebration also started too quickly also, and also end very quickly as well. So, but hopefully that is the resources there, and hopefully we will have the real oil, and so that we can bring those the benefit to support Cambodian people who right now struggling to survive because of the pandemic and because of the economic downfall of Cambodia.
Yes, it's unfortunately that right now is COVID-19 and the economy is not doing so well in Cambodia. So he have to have something to celebrate. Sammady talking about win-win situation earlier. I forgot to tell Sammady that the ceremony was at the win-win momentum monument in Phnom Penh. So I guess they want to make sure it's a win-win situation. It just except that they're not telling Cambodian that 5 days before that company fell bankruptcy, and it's a consistently lying to the people. It's consistently hype up the money is coming in scenario where there's nothing coming in, and each day people are hungry. People are asking for help because the COVID lockdown.
I think if something like this happened in the United States, and no way does company would walk away freely, and no way those who are responsible for the project could go out freely. The Senate and the Congress would call them and to answer the questions publicly. So I think that that should be the test of the Hun Sen leadership, if he's willing to do that, because he talked about democracy in Cambodia. He's talking about that we have good democracy in Cambodia. Let's show it. Let's open it publicly and to see who the stakeholder in that company. And I bet maybe half, 50% maybe owned by his family members also, I think. So,
Yeah, that's whole responsibility to let it go. Let's talk about, we talked about oil, and another second topic last week was gold. We heard so many times before COVID-19 how the regime has so much gold that he's gonna pull out. He has a 6 month plan into COVID-19, a year plan that he's gonna pull out. So last week, um, let me see, last week, according to Phnom Penh Post and also Radio Free Asia and everyone say Cambodia will soon join the roster of gold producing country after the government announced the commencement, basically another celebrations of gold mining operations. This is in Mandalgiri province. Um, so Prime Minister Hun Sen on June 10 announced that after 14 years of explorations and research by Australian mine Renaissance Mineral is in Cambodia, the company will be the first to commercialize the gold. Okay, so the Cambodia expect to project to generate 185 million per annual in pre-tax cash flow, with 40 million from royalty and taxes transferred to the national budget, according to the Prime Minister. So 40 million is flowing into the country. Um, every time I heard dollar, I heard number. Um, how much is that going to even go to the people? um, Oil and gold, it's belong to the Cambodian people because it's considered natural resource. And at the same time, all in my head or I can see is the corruptions. Sammady, can you help me with this gold mining story from last week?
Well, basically, right now he received 40 millions to the national government, but I don't think that 40 million will go into the people's hand because as you know, the goal is not a long term solution for to solve the economic situation in Cambodia. The long term economic situation in Cambodia is manufacturing. The only way to have a long term manufacturing and bring profit into the country of Cambodia, we talk about billions of dollars, is to have good relationship with the US and Europe, so you can export your product to other country and bring in profit, and you don't get tax on those products, so you made 100% profit. With gold, only 40 millions. We don't know how long it lasted. The gold is not that easy to find. It's not consistent revenue into the government, to the national bank. So this is just hyped for during COVID to make Cambodian people believe that the government have money to help them, while in reality they were in the red zone, don't know when their next meal is. So this is just to hype up Cambodian people to into believing the government still have money to help them as promised.
So $40 million per year, and also let me see, the company has like initial license for 15-year period with the right to own two renewable up to 10 year for each. So 2020 and 15 is 35 years. So the company is having license to mining gold for the next 35 years.
Mhm.
Let me put Mr. Rithy, how what kind of business sign a contract for 35 years?
I think that 35 years probably comparing to the contract that the regime signed and give to Vietnam is just a very minimal, one third of what Mr. Hun Sen allowed Vietnam to do business in Cambodia. So I think that's at least not 99 years, at least only 35 years, and also is not owned by the neighboring country, owned by Australian, a company who really a credible company that we believe they're not going to do anything shameful to destroy our resources that not yet been discovered. So I think the this is a lot of economic growth that worried me, because I think that we have a lot of short-term economic growth, and the long term yet to see what plan the government's plan to do. Because as you know that the goals, so somebody mentioned, is we all know that the goal in Cambodia is still young, and up since 1991 until since 1991 until now, there are a lot of illegal gold mining in Cambodia. Right now, it's the list, it's legalized it and put that in prospect and get the profit to the government. But we don't know how much 40 million that generated from the promise gold mining company will go to the people. How many dollars that being distributed, how many percent straight to the people lives, economic development for Cambodian people, how the short-term and long-term goal for the people. And I think the government should have that strategy in place. As you know that I grew up in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and I seen a lot of growth in the capital city. But that one is just a fake growth, because a lot of people sold farms. My village was mostly farm land, and now it's all my relative that no longer know me because they got rich by selling the land. And what are they going to do after that? There are no more farmland. They're not. They enjoy have a short life. Enjoy the short money that they have, but in the long term, we don't know how they're going to survive or not. So the same thing with the goal. I think if projected the 35 years, they're going to take everything in inland and produce 40 million in tax revenue, and hopefully grow for a little more, and hopefully that dollar will turn to the hand of the people that waiting the government do something to bring hope to the people. But for now, I doubt it that the dollars will go to the people. We've seen the promise that Mr. Hun Sen gave during pandemic, that the money when it clear to give people's money, but the money cut short lived. And I think right now, let's see what's going to happen. But I don't believe that it's going to last too long. And sooner or later, everyone's going to forget that $40 million probably disappear to somewhere else that we don't know where to go, where it goes. And it's a begging more money from the foreign aids, and the things that we heard a lot of tax revenue into Cambodia. But in the meantime, we also heard that they pledging for more money from foreign countries to support Cambodia. So I think that uh, again, the Cambodia needs leaders that have visions, have a long visions to bring stability and also bring economic growth inside Cambodia. If you don't know it, bring expert to work with you. That's how this country do, and this is how people the real leaders should do. Instead of saying I can do things without formal training, formal uh, 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 studying, let bring expert work alongside and let them have the point of view, not the one that doesn't know anything about, but the one that the real expert that knows how to make economic growth inside Cambodia. And let bring Mr. Sammady, actually the expert of economic, to see. I believe that give him a year or two, I think will change economic growth in Cambodia totally. Thank you.
Yeah, we have so much natural resources. We have oil, we have gold, and at the same time, there's
It's been
nobody. I mean, nobody
it's been
do know how to manage this.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been draining without going toward Cambodian people, draining resources every single day since 1991. But I don't talk about before that, just until 1991. So it's sad.
So the last two, not the last 2 weeks, it's last week, they talking about economic growth regarding oil and regarding gold. The one thing that they don't talk about is the economic growth regarding forests. That's natural resources, and this is how our forests look like. And I never heard anybody say
It's
this
so
is
sad.
economic growth.
It's so sad.
It's so sad. And this is the map of all
Yeah,
the yellow spot that you see, that bright yellow, that's the deforestations in Cambodia.
terrible.
Yeah, and it's getting spread and spread bigger, and nobody talk about this picture. So where does this economic growth go to? Um, every single day, deforestations. Every single day, people are crying, oh, land grabbing. And also, when you cut down the forest, they have what's called environmental impact as well. Um, Mr. Rithy, how come deforestations in Cambodia doesn't consider as economic growth like oil or gold?
I believe because the it economic grow toward the private people, toward the powerful people in Cambodia, but not to grow in for economic in Cambodia. And then we see is a fact. You know, you see all the Oknya, all the rich, powerful people in Cambodia, rich from grabbing lands and also cutting tree illegally sell to neighboring countries. And we see the price of log in the United States is so expensive now. And now mind the quality of the tree that being cut down by those illegal company by smuggling out from Cambodia to neighboring country is so much. All the quality is the best uh, log, more wonderful log in the world, and uh, and and you can see the luxurious car. They defined the inside is all made from a beautiful mahogany wood inside the beautiful the luxurious cars, and I think if Hun Sen's uh, uh, abide by what he swore to the people, or uh, he claimed that he going to change, stop this illegal log activity. I think the economic growth from the will be tremendous to have economic, because multi-million dollars uh, have been sold monthly, not just yearly, by those illegal company. And I think if and also the government has not just tried to encourage or use resources that we have to train people how to use the resources to make a product that produce selling abroad while the tax is still free. You know, use the quality of wood to making a lot of beautiful uh, 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 things that we can handcraft things that sell all over the world and so very expensive. And in Cambodia, we have a lot of skilled people can do that, but they're not encouraged. But the courage that the government give to the people is none. And they even put down the poor peasant who just try to cut down tree a little bit to do things to support their daily life. They put them in jail, but those big companies they let go. So I think that's something that is shameful to the government, and I think that law is one of uh, uh, the the fast economic growth you can find, and also for him to give 99 years to the Vietnamese company land that full of logs, and now become vacant land by no means, and that's shameful. And that should be turned into $1 trillion to Cambodia, and that Cambodia shouldn't be poor as it is right now. It should be rich, one of the rich countries in Asia. It should be one of the poorest in Asia now. And I think that the fall of leadership of Mr. Hun Sen and of the regime. And I think not just three. When we talk about three, we talk about water as well. the water resources, we have fish. Now we should be the number one fish export, uh, 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 fresh water fish export in Asia. We used to be that, but now we have nothing, and the water the lakes have been uh, 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 destroyed by new buildings, and people being forced by those powerful people in Cambodia just so they can earn the profit for. I don't know how much money they need in lives, and I think when they come one piece, they will go in one piece also. Let that one piece before you go turn turn into something good for a human being. That's what it should do. Thank you.
Thank you, Lupu. Yeah, thank you. Let me read a report by Global Forest Watch. It says Cambodia lost a quarter its total tree cover between 2001 to 2018. This is the report like 3 years ago. Among the highest deforestation rate in the world,
Yeah,
and
that's
the people of Cambodia does not get a penny out of those tree. And also talking about let me see, and London-based watchdog Global Witness has produced reports showing how politically connected Cambodian tycoons use concessions and military personnel to strip valuable wood from protected forests to feed thriving market in China and Vietnam. This is
yeah.
by Global Witness. Um, and almost 500,000 cubic meter of wood was smuggled across Cambodian eastern border to Vietnam from 2016 to 2018, according to Environmental Investigation Agency. It Everybody know that the regime is involved in deforestation, and also talking about climate change regarding to the deforestation. Is that Cambodia is highly exposed to the impact of global warming and extreme weather, such as flood, drought, rising temperature, and strong winds. The frequency of climate-related disaster has increased in the past 3 decades because of cutting tree. That's why we have all this flood, drought, and all these conditions that we never have in the last 3 decades. That's the impact of tree deforestations. At the same time, we keep saying, the last week alone, they were so cheering about oil, about gold, but they never talking about the economic growth of the tree. While it's lost a quarter its total tree, and that not even a penny flowing into the Cambodian, the innocent Cambodian that should be benefit from this natural resources. And at the same time, because the land being given to the investor, many family is losing their land. So government is land grabbing. Somebody, would you like to add to this, the natural resource of the tree that we have in our country?
Well, our natural resource, the tree, I think the Vietnamese government is really smart. They not cutting down their own tree, but they outsourcing tree from our country into their country so they can sell it to outside country. That is really smart of Vietnam, because when I was small, I visited Vietnam. Even in the middle of their city, there's tree growing, like is not hot. There's a lot of tree. They would not destroy their natural resources. But we have our neighbor Cambodia. Vietnam has their neighbor Cambodia who can willing to sell their country, 99-year contracts, cutting down all the trees, outsourcing everything that we can to Vietnam. So and none of those money is going to Cambodia. And if I am correct, is more than 40% of Cambodia exporting is agricultural. We made money from rice.
Mm.
The flood, the drought, everything, all of those natural resource affected growing rice. Drought killing the rice field. Flooding also killing the rice field. So by cutting down tree, you just destroyed your own people. You bring no income into the country. And also right now, there's no news from EBA. Cambodia doesn't have a good relationship with the outside country, the Western country, to bring benefit On the other hand, we decided to go with China instead, to do manufacturing and outsourcing log, like you said, and do contracts, giving away our land in Kampong Sam, with China, building the Silk Route. So this is not a good leadership. This is called outsourcing of your country to another country. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Sammady. From what I understand, we what benefit Cambodian the most is EBA, because a lot of Cambodian is in working in factory. Um, last last year, due to many reasons, I'm going to have Mr. Rithy explain why do we lose the EBA and why we lose according to the number we the 20% that the European sanction us is equal to 1.1 billion dollar annually. The EBA export is equal to 5.8 billion per year, but because of the sanction, because of the withdrawal, EBA withdrawal, partially withdrawal, it's equal to 1.1 billion. Why do we why this regime so happy to get 40 million from gold and throwing away 1.1 billion dollar, Mr. Rithy Uong?
And I think that that shows the weakness of the Hun Sen regime in terms of seeing opportunity and grabbed it for the nation, for the people. And I think it's go without saying, anybody that is care enough about the people, care enough about the economic growth in the country, they will see the big difference, which one to grab. But I think he rather let the 1.1 billion goes and grab 40 million that not even sustain the economy in Cambodia, but just enough to not even feed 1 month or 4 months in Cambodia, and let go. I think because he wanted to hold on to his powers. He did not abide by the rules of law that the Europeans and free world trade want him to do. Is respect human rights, respect freedom of speech, stop arresting people without due process, without any cause, and bring democracy back to Cambodia. And that's what the condition that the European Union wanted, but the government been denied all those things, even though the fact the Human Rights Watch touring and showing all the facts to Mr. Hun Sen, and at the meeting at the European Union meetings, they produce facts, and they show the factual what happened. And we also we can see clearly, we have a document, we document it's the arrest, people being charged, the people being killed, and those things that's they know. And Hun Sen's government still denies the fact. And I think that denies cost people's life, cost economic growth inside Cambodia, and cost the work being cost the the sanction against Cambodia, and that in as the result, the people lost the jobs. The people can't afford to pay loan that they owe from those private company. And I think we are in trouble economically. And I think if we Cambodia continue to have this kind of leadership, we will not be able to survive. We're going to live dependent on foreign aid. We're going to live depends on begging those free world for money, for mercy, and without having any own ability to sustain the economic growth themselves. While we never had this kind of issue in the past, before the war, and I think Cambodia itself should be able to sustain the economic growth by themselves if we have good leadership in Cambodia. And you will see that just United States alone since 1991 they've been supported by $11 billion in economic growth in Cambodia, and and that's alone, now mind about a package to have during pandemic. And how about from the European unions and some other country? And I think those money, if the government smart, government care now about the welfare of the old people, care now about the country, they should turn that dollar into a sustainable economic that bring peace and harmony to their own people. So I think, do not blame the CNRP about EBA. No, blame himself, blame Mr. Hun Sen that do not take accept the condition that the free world asked him to do. They didn't ask much. They asked make sure he followed that condition, but he didn't, because and that's how it happened. So it's not Mr. Sammady, it's not CNRP, it's Mr. Hun Sen himself that do not follow the rule of law, follow the condition that the European and United States asked him to abide by. So
Yes. According to the EU resolution, it said Cambodia is now a one-party state with no parliament opposition, adding that national elections held in Cambodia 2018 were neither fair, were neither free nor fair, and the CPP should not be considered the legitimate ruling party of Cambodia. And this is the finding from the EU. We didn't tell them this. They came down and they look at this, and that's how sanction happened. Sammady, can you add a couple more sanctions that what the EU want? What is I believe there's like 25 of them. Can you name a couple of them so that way our audience know that it's the EU that sanctioned the Hun Sen regime, and that sanctions is equal to $1.1 billion that our people who in factory that able to benefit and able to feed their family, but unfortunately the leadership in Cambodia, who is Hun Sen and his people, do not abide by these EU recommendations.
Mm-hmm. So their one most important condition is to have free and fair elections and basic human right to Cambodian people. Give them the voice to express, not just throw them in jail because they said we're losing our forests. Our neighbor country, Vietnam, stole our land, and you just throw them all to jail for no reason without trials. So those are the major thing. And what people fail to see is the EBA is important, but 20% to Hun Sen is nothing, right? Is 1.1 something billion. But they forgot the facts that most outside country like Adidas, Nike, Coca-Cola, all of those country has their brand name. They want them to have good name under their brand. Not if they know that your country doesn't have free and fair elections, violate basic human rights, they're not doing business with you. And in Asian region, there's a lot of competition. We have Vietnamese next to us. We have China who will outsource product to outside country like US and EU. If we stop doing business with the Western world and the US, they can just go to our neighbor. Vietnam doesn't charge that much for labor to produce Adidas, Nikes, or Coca-Cola. They just want to help our country, Cambodia, so people get out of poverty and have food to eat. If Cambodia lose all the EBA benefit, Vietnam's will win because they also receive EBA in Cambodia. From the Western world. So if it's like taking one of your competition out of the picture and monopolize the whole market, that's what Vietnam do right now. They get all the trades. They receive 100% free tariff from the outside country, from Europe. And they also probably has more company going into Vietnam, giving a lot of Vietnamese people jobs. You never see Vietnamese people go out to Thailand, to Japan, to Korea to find jobs. No, they stay inside their country to help to be able to live. But our country, Cambodia, we have millions of people going to other country to find better living. we have human power who can work hard every day to help out the country. But our prime minister doesn't want that. He believe be a strong man in politics is more important than the well-being of people, especially during this time of COVID. The country have no revenue.
But also, I
And
think if
yeah.
you look to the trip by the Secretary of States when the Sherman recently to
Mhm.
Cambodia, not issue that that the United States put pressure on Mr. Hun Sen and his regime is the public the the public the people of the Republic of China's naval base in Kampong Sam, and I think
Mhm.
the government's state allowed Conference Post also allow they allow U.S. military to go to see the base, but now the report came back that what they show is not enough. They want to see stronger, but now the military of Mr. Hun Sen deny that this is our country. We want you to see a certain amount that's up to us, and no other country allow the people to go see the military base. But the fact they try to they flip flop. They don't know what they are doing, and they put down the two military base of U.S. without notify U.S. embassy or by America. So I think they in trouble, not issue. They in trouble with America also because they have not produced the clear clear explanation about the naval base that Chinese built in Riyadh. So I think that the issue that they had to deal with. So issue over issue, and the issue before had not yet resolved. Now we got another issue on top of that. So I think that's we are in crisis now in Cambodia, and I think the people don't know the issue. They enjoy what they have without knowing the fact that the danger is going to come close to them if they not willing to stand up and ask for an explanation from the government.
Yes, and the EBA is 5.8 million, and I believe that's employ almost at least 800,000 people and 800,000 factory worker, and now it's 20%, and it's not going to stop until the regime um, abide by their recommendation. Their recommendation is to reinstate CNRP. Their recommendation is, respect human right. And let me show a picture. This is the picture of people that in jail for no particular reason because of they most of them express um, the freedom of expression, using freedom of expression against the regime, and they are in jail. And let me show, this is people that consider what they are mother nature. They are
Environmentalist.
environmentalists. Where we're talking about environmentalists, if these are the people that pointing attention to land grabbing, deforestations, and they are in jail for the freedom of to ex, their expressions, and that's why EBA sanctions. Today we hit three important natural resources in Cambodia. Two of them is considered economic growth by the regime. The other one was being quiet, and the regime himself is like he's going to stop deforestation by cutting his arm. I believe that was like 10, 15 years ago, and deforestation is still continue. Um, so when we talk about gold last week, so the regime is like throwing EBA away. They grabbing gold, we're throwing diamond away. How how is that even possible? How is that even leadership? That's not leadership. That's not economic growth. That's just pulling the country down to more harmful harmful no money basically. Somebody want you want to help to close the show, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Rithy to also close the show a little bit on regarding the fake economic growth that the regime been cheering since last week.
So my last word is I hope the regime, the Cambodian regime under Mr. Hun Sen will start to care about its people, because when the EU decided to cut out the EBA, that is before COVID. Money is not important during that time to Hun Sen regime. It's only $1 billion. But right now, our country is in economic crisis. We have people hungry for food. They could not afford to buy food every day due to COVID because they lost job. So the only way is to make the country to start having job again. So the only way is to bring those 1 billion back by restoring basic human right. Let the CNRP have a free and fair elections, and that's all you need to do. It's so simple, but he cannot do it. He want to please China instead. The dictators always do what he sees best to show how strong he is. So it is fortunate to my country.
Thank you, Sammady. Mr. Rithy, would you like to add something and then help close the show?
Thank you very much. First, I just would like to thank for opportunity to be here with both of you, and I think it's an honor and privilege. And I hoped, I wish that the Mr. Hun Sen realized that what he has done to Cambodia, what damage have been done, but it's not something that we cannot change. He can change it, and I think if he accept the recommendation, as somebody stated, and I think it will help to produce to bring economic back to Cambodia right away. So I think that before they hold it further, because it's hard to bring it back. Those EBA, and once it's gone, it's gone. It will bring years to come back. So it's the dangers. The ball in his hand. Stop playing with that ball. Use that ball properly, and bring it to think about those people that's starving because of pandemic. Think about people that's starving because he resisted not to grant human right, basic human right to the people, not to grant, not free those people that been incarcerated unjustly, and not to allow to have a free and fair elections. Let people exercise their voice. They should be able to pick to elect somebody that they think best serve the country and best serve the people. And I think he's the true leader, that he's been there more than about 35 years plus already. He should feel comfortable that people should vote for him, unless he feel uncertain about his leadership. For me, as no stranger, if I was him, I would not afraid to have open election, knowing that those people 35 years under his rules. If you go to the people, Cambodian people, it's very easy to please. You go to them, they will be grateful to you. So please accept the recommendation from the EBA and from the United States as well in terms of human rights, the rule group, the abide rule of laws, and as well as to have free and fair election, allowing the CNRP back to serve the people. That's what people wanted. And I think the democracy works best when everyone has a voice in in the process. So the people voice the concern, people want it. Let show your leadership, bring it on. Let bring people in, and let have a fair election, and nobody, no more killing, no more arresting those people that fights just to promote human rights and democracy in Cambodia. Thank you.
Thank you, Lukpu, and thank you, Sammady, for being here today.
Thank you.
And thank you, our guests, for joining us for over an hour. And I, the reason we talk about this topic, because it was something that the regime cheer about, and I just want to bring it up that it's not something to cheer about. EBA is something to cheer about, and 40 million per year by goal is nothing. And we need to protect our forests, where that's our natural resource that's impact the climate change, that impact everything. So respect the EBA that the European Union requests to. So thank you, our guests, for being here. Thank you, our audience. I hope you have a good evening, both guests, and I hope our audience have a good evening. I will see you next Tuesday. And Mr. Rithy Uong, happy Father's Day. And
you.
all the father out there, I forgot all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. I forgot that this weekend.
Me too.
Good night and thank you.
Happy Father's to all wonderful fathers in the world. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.